What's up, everybody? It's the first episode of the podcast. My name is Jeremy, aka Smoke Signal, and I want to tell you my story today. We're out here in Baytown, Texas. This strip right here is called Texas Avenue, and I spent many nights out here doing ministry, praying for people, and seeing all kind of miracles and deliverances. But I went through a situation where I lost my faith. I stepped away from my faith. I can't say I lost it. I actually made a decision to step away from it. So um, maybe this story will help some of you that have maybe once had a faith and then walked away from it, or maybe you've never had any faith at all. And hopefully my story can bring you hope. So I was heavily active in ministry on a couple different things. And my dad died in 2021 of COVID. And it was really traumatic for me. My dad was, in many ways, really in every way, the person I went to anytime I had a problem, whether it was spiritual or financial or emotional, I went to my dad. So I watched my dad die a very painful and lonely death. And so I began to struggle with my faith in a way where really it was about, it started off, I was angry at God and really questioning him on why this would happen to somebody that loved him and loved people and helped a lot of people. So he died, and then the week of his funeral, I caught COVID and I had to miss his funeral. That was really my breaking point. And so I did a couple things in my faith that caused the stepping away. The first thing I did was I really let the devil come in and begin to play in my mind and cause me to be angry and hurt and all these emotions at once. And then what I did was let a little bit of compromise come in. And this is terrible when you're trying to walk a Christian life, is to allow compromise to come in, because with compromise, I began to think that what I wanted to do was go get high again. Because many years before that, I had a drug addiction. And I just wanted the pain to stop. So I began to have this thought of, you know what? I can go get high for a day or two, kill the pain, and then just ask God to forgive me, and all will be well. But as that thought went over and over and over my head, I was sitting on the couch and contemplating going and getting high. And I got a call from my pastor. She called me on my cell phone and said, Jeremy, you need to turn on some praise and worship music and get inside the presence of God and get in your word. I said, okay, I'll do that. And in all honesty, I rushed to get off the phone and hung up the phone. And after I let compromise turn into total and willful disobedience, and decided I was going to go get high. So I searched someone that I had known from my past out on a social media app. Asked him if I could come get some cocaine. He said yes. So I started a process of disobedience. So I went from a spiritual attack to compromise to total sin, right? So when I went and picked up this cocaine, it was a process. It wasn't like I was walking down the road and just like fell into a bag of cocaine, right? I had to go get money from the bank. I had to drive to this person's house. I had to go pick up the cocaine. I had to drive back home. I had to stop, pick up straw. It was a process of several choices in disobedience that led me to taking that first line of cocaine. And from the first line, for the next 5 years, it ruled and controlled every area of my life. Every decision I made was based on when, how, where I was going to get high. So to give just a little clarity, I was spending about $200 a day in cocaine getting high. And it was controlling every area of my life. To make a long story short, really I lost everything. And when all the lies and all the addictions and all that came out, and my wife found out about it, she basically said, "Hey, I'm moving out." And going through that was more than what I could stand and what more than I could take emotionally, and that on top of all the drugs. I decided I didn't want to be alive anymore. So I was going to end my life that day, but it was actually my mom's birthday, and I didn't want to make that day on her birthday always be about me committing suicide. Because even at the time, I just believed that suicide is like the most selfish thing you can do to people that do care about you and love you. So I decided I would do it the next day. So I got up on a Sunday morning. Actually, I was up most of the night doing cocaine. And I took a water hose off the back of my house, stuck it in the exhaust of my car, took a bunch of sleeping pills, put the hose inside of my car, rolled up the windows, turned my car on, put on some music, and went to sleep with plans of never waking up again. Sorry, I'm trying not to get emotional. But I was so broken from the drugs and the loss of my family and my relationship with God and all these things that I had lost because of this terrible addiction that I could not control any longer. It had total rule over my life. And I did. I went to sleep. There's bits and pieces, almost like a puzzle, that I remember, but basically what happened is my youngest son at the time found me. He was on his way to church, actually, and found me in my car. Called the paramedics. The paramedics showed up. I don't really remember much of that. I was in and out of it. Can't say how close I was to death because I never really got that word. But being that I don't really remember much of it, I'm pretty sure I was pretty close. And woke up in Baytown at the emergency room, hooked up on, some machines and stuff. And I guess in Texas, when you have a suicide attempt and you fail at that, you wind up in a mental hospital. So that's where I wound up. And it was basically at that time, my family let me know I didn't have a place to go to. I was homeless. And the only option I had was rehab. So after the evaluation at the mental hospital, I went to my first rehab in College Station. And I didn't want to be there. I toyed with the idea of escaping. Really, all I wanted to do was just go get high again and complete the suicide attempt. But I heard a lady's story about how she had recovered, and I thought, you know what? Maybe if I just get in with this program and maybe maybe I can get clean and try to put my life back together. And also, I was relayed a message from my mother-in-law at the time to use my time there to fix my relationship with God. So one night, all by myself in a room, feeling feeling so broken and lost of everything, I told God, I mean, if you'll take me back and you'll fix me and you'll make me whole, I'll serve you the rest of my life, and I'll do my best to bring others to you. There's really no way to explain it unless you've experienced something like this, but I had a genuine encounter with Jesus Christ, and it was like he walked into the room and fixed me. And now there was a period of like several months in rehab where, I mean, I had dreams of getting high. For those of you that have had struggles with cocaine, I mean, I would wake up and have that same feeling like I just ran out and I need to go get more. It was terrible. I went through terrible withdrawals. Of course, like most rehabs, they put me on a bunch of psych meds, things like that. But one-on-one, I just worked on my relationship with God as best as I could, with a little bit of clarity I had. And I didn't even have a Bible. Like, I had no access to social media, no access to computers, no nothing. So I was able to use the phone once a week. And so I called my son that found me, and asked him to bring me a Bible. And he did. He brought me a study Bible, and I began to get in the Word. And I had this idea that God was just going to fix everything. And that wasn't the way God worked it out. I got ready to get out of the first rehab. And I guess in my mind, I had this idea that, you know, God was going to fix my marriage and fix my relationship with my kids and with the rest of my family. And like, I had all these high hopes, things that I'd worked out in my mind. And when I began to get closer to getting out of rehab, that's basically when my family said, no, you're still homeless. You're not coming home. You're going to another rehab. So I did. I got out of College Station, got on an airplane, flew to Florida and Fort Lauderdale, went to another rehab there, and spent my time there. And my prayer was that God would restore my marriage and restore everything that I had lost. And got ready to leave there, and then was told again, no, you're going to a halfway house. So I left Florida and moved directly into a halfway house. And really, it was there where I really began to work on my relationship with God. And God began to restore some things in my life. I was having a really hard time finding a job, and was out of money, and still wasn't welcome at home. So luckily, my mom and my brother worked some things out where I could go and live with my mom and help her, and you know, try to put my life back together as best as possible. So came back to Baytown and started attending a church with my mother. it was a great season. Man, I really grew with the Lord there. I developed some friendships with some other men at the church, and so it was really good and great. And then at some point, God began to call me back to the church where I had done ministry. And for those of you that have ever fallen away from God or fallen away from ministry, and I've met many people, maybe like yourself, that have fallen away from ministry or felt like had gone too far from God. There was a lot of embarrassment going back to that church because most of the people there was very aware of my fall from grace, if you will. But a lot of that was just more mind games. They welcomed me back with open arms. I got a very good mentor that has helped me in my walk so much, and God's restoring a lot of what was taken. My relationship with my kids are great, and that's been restored. Not everything is unfortunately is going to be restored on that end, but God's got other plans and other things. And it's kind of funny out here. I came out here to record this podcast with my friend. Thank you, Amy, for filming. And we were getting ready to film and kind of sharing our own testimonies with each other. And I was like, man, I've got this overwhelming feeling I'm supposed to talk to somebody out here, which is really cool. This wasn't part of the plan at all. But this road is where I used to do a lot of street ministry, and I began to feel this pull of, man, there's somebody I'm supposed to talk to. And before we started filming, we actually walked up on two young people. I'm assuming they were probably in their 20s. And I got to share my story with them and actually led them in a prayer, and they gave their life to Jesus. And it was just a way of God being awesome like he always is, stepping down and saying, you're in the process of being rebuilt and restored. And so I just want to tell you, if you're out there and you're addicted to anything, whatever it is, it could be drugs, it could be pornography, it could be gang banging, whatever it is, there is hope. And Jesus Christ gave his life so that you can not only get clean or get out of your addiction, but to be restored to where he wants you and to become who he planned for you to be before you were ever even thought of. The Bible says in Jeremiah 1:5 that before he even forms us in the womb, that he knows us and that he has a plan for our life. And I want to challenge you. Maybe you've looked at Christianity like it's a joke or it don't make sense. I want to challenge you. If that's you, just say a simple prayer. God, if you're real, then reveal yourself to me. If you're honest about that, he might give you dreams. He might send people your direction, but he will reach out to you because even right now he is chasing after you. And maybe you've fallen away. Maybe you're in ministry. Maybe you were in ministry and you fell away. And you feel like you've gone too far. You can't go too far. God is in the business of restoring you. And if he called you to ministry, he has still called you to ministry. And he will open those doors back up. There'll be some time of healing and restoring, and maybe even proving yourself to others again. But he can bring you back and put you back in ministry. And so I want to challenge whoever sees this video, just give God control of your life, because he will change your life. He will make you new. He can break addictions, and he can bring you to where he wants you to be. Y'all take it easy.